Alrighty. So we have here a replay from the perspective of Malfurion. And this is an NGS match, right?
Right.
It's Division B, right?
Div A now.
Div A. Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, I guess.
Alrighty. So let's take a look at this draft. We have Malfurion, Hanzo, Li Ming, Chen, Johanna, Yrel, Lunara, etc., Tyrande, Raynor. Okay. So first and foremost, this is, I'm assuming, after Chen changes, correct?
Correct.
Okay, cool.
This match was played like August 12th, I think.
Okay, perfect. So as far as composition goes, at what point in the draft did you end up picking the Malfurion?
I think after I saw Raynor Lunara, I thought Malf would be good into it.
Rainier Lunar, gotcha. Okay, yeah, absolutely. They definitely have a lot of sustained damage and not a ton of burst. They do have the ETC Tyrande, which is definitely some burst, but their damage types, Lunara, Raynor, and Yrel, are all sort of sustained damage that is relatively predictable. So I do like the Malfurion pick. Do you end up going for Tranquility or Twilight Dream this game? Do you remember?
I go for Trank, but
Yeah.
in hindsight, maybe I should have gone Twilight. I don't know.
I think that the Tranquility makes a lot of sense this game based on that damage type. However, if the ETC goes for Stage Dive, I think I would consider the Twilight Dream instead. Basically, the idea being that if he ever does try and Stage Dive in your backline, you drop a root and Twilight Dream and just blow him up. But as far as the rest of it goes, let's see. So you have a very tanky front line between Johanna and Chen, and then you have squishy but mobile and hard to kill typically DPS. So I like your draft. It's pretty nice. You have the Johanna, so your wave clear should be fine, especially after level 4 with Hanzo. Yeah, I like this. As far as power spikes, so one thing to keep in mind. So as Malfurion, your cleanse is not an unstoppable. So ETC, Tyrande, power slide into Lunar Flare is not super effective, like as a cleanse goes. You definitely probably still want to have it against specifically the ETC slide. But early game could be challenging, I would say, as far as dealing with that combo. But you do have Johanna, so I think that you guys can peel for it pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't end up going cleanse this game. I was hoping just like my backline wouldn't get slid on.
Yeah, honestly, these two heroes should be pretty safe from being slid, except for if he goes Stage Dive, honestly. Because they should never be close enough to get power slid unless like they're going for a kill with Li Ming. Yeah, you have a very good front line to deal with that sort of combo as well, so I'm not too worried. Your positioning has to be very good, though, to make sure you don't get slid, because obviously you want to weave in those moonfires, but you definitely don't want to get close enough for that.
All right.
What was I going to mention? Yeah, I think this is good. Let's jump right into it. I wouldn't, purely off of draft, I wouldn't say that either team is tremendously favored. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I think that they're both strong drafts. I think that your team probably has a little bit more power behind it once ultimates come online than the other team. The other team, their base kits are very synergistic, but I don't think that the ults are particularly powerful in conjunction. So that being said, when it comes to early objectives, I think you guys can play a little bit more passive. You can give up the first intermediate shrine, I guess you could call it. What do you call it? All right, so you guys have the first clear here. Yrel is already up top, so Chen's going to rotate there. You guys are going to get the first rotation down here. Make sure you immediately rotate. Johanna's slowing the rotation.
Small note about the draft.
Yeah.
We did actually want Lunara instead of Hanzo, but they took it right before us.
Fair enough. But, yeah. Lunara and Li Ming is a really solid combo of DPS types because the Lunara has not guaranteed, but sort of predicted damage, and that allows Li Ming to know what targets are going to take damage, which means that she can commit knowing that damage is coming in. So it's really a solid combo, not to mention that Lunar has slows, which helps also to set up those Li Ming damage.
Yeah, our Hanzo was kind of like a scrambled pick.
Gotcha.
Almost.
I mean, Li Ming Hanzo is actually
here.
quite good as well. It's typically a much stronger combination on Battlefield of Eternity because you have that long range poke damage or race damage that's really powerful. So it's by no means a bad combo whatsoever. The only problem here is that on this map, this lane in the middle, unless you have a really good double lane soaker, you definitely don't want to have like Hanzo or Li Ming be the only person that's here. I do think that Chen is good enough to double lane soak, but I think Yrel is a little bit faster at it, a little bit quicker to wave clear. So that may end up being a small concern. Honestly, I'd probably end up sending Johanna to clear up mid wave every once in a while if Chen is falling behind, and leave Li Ming, Hanzo, and Malfurion together. All right, so you guys do get the first rotation. Johanna does a good job of keeping their team slowed here. It's really nice. So they end up missing 3 minions of soak because of this, which is really nice. You guys, I think, missed only 1. Mid lane, however, they have Lunar here. Yeah, okay. So you're going to have to rotate 1 person at the very least. See, a full wave has already arrived here, so this is not good. This is you're trying to do a 4-man rotation mid bot, which you're going to fall behind compared to a team that's trying to do bot lane priority with their 4-man and then having double lane soak or having 1 person here. So I think having I would say you have to only send 1 person to the mid lane, and you still have to make sure you're controlling the bot lane, clearing it quickly, because what's going to happen right now is they're going to clear this wave first. You're going to have to catch it to soak here. They're going to be able to do their camp before you do yours, and then they have the option to invade. That's, I'm guessing, what's going to happen.
Yeah, we should have communicated that better.
Okay. So yeah, they're going straight for theirs. You guys have to catch this. No! Okay. Alright. You're catching it. Okay, so they should finish it first, but it looks like you guys started it pretty quickly. That's good. Gonna miss some soak up here as well. Yeah. Yeah, definitely gotta have basically roles attributed for who's catching that soak and whatnot, because that is the one. Okay, so you have Li Ming here now, and it's not ideal. I'm surprised that neither Chen nor Yrel is trying to go for double lane soak. That's surprising to me on this map. This map is very much so double lane soakable by the solo laner if you have one with high wave clear, and that can be a Yrel, it could be a Chen, it could be Malthael, it could be Blaze, could be Illidan, could be, so there's a lot. Leoric, Dahaka, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I know our Euro player likes to wait for the 7 sometimes before soaking, double soaking.
Gotcha. I see. The level 7. The level 7, are you talking about the jump talent? The mount talent. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That definitely speeds it up a lot. All right, so I'm going to go back a second because I missed the initiation here. So this is actually relatively favorable positioning for your team, actually, just because of where the line is of where these mercenaries and minions are meeting. They're not close enough that they're going to run into your towers. You're going to have the minion wave backing it up. Theirs is a little bit further behind. So this isn't bad right now. Let's take a look. I don't have you selected. Let me change that. Here we go. I don't want it to be locked. Okay, there we go. Zoom out. Can we zoom out? Yeah. All right, I missed it again. He got paraslid. That's what I saw. Shouldn't have happened. Nope. Not sure how it did. Okay, now, sorry, I haven't really been focusing on your play specifically, so I'm going to try and do that more now. So you have your heal up. Fine. Okay. So let's take a look. So you went for Shando's Clarity here. Okay. I don't know that I would take Shando's here, just because you don't have multiple super mana hungry heroes on your team. Hanzo's not super mana hungry. He runs out of mana every once in a while. Li Ming can be mana hungry, but I don't think this is necessary. Like, I would consider taking this talent if you have like a Gul'dan, because Gul'dan is infinitely mana hungry, because health equals mana, or mana equals health. And yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's necessary, but it's fine.
I mean, typically, both my DPS players, especially when they play Ming and Hanzo, are mana hungry. That's why I took it.
Fair enough. That's fine. I don't think that you need, like, if you go Celestial Alignment this game, for example, you're just putting yourself in a risky position more often than not. So I'm not expecting you to use basic attacks on an ETC that can slide you. I would have gone for Rejuvenation personally, just because of in the same vein of the damage type, right? If you have Lunar damage coming out, if you get hit yourself, instead of needing to use a regrowth on yourself, you can just have the Rejuvenation taking care of that. But that's fine. It's not that big of a difference.
Yeah, I don't really take Rejuvenation that often, but I think that's a good point.
It's honestly, it's specifically because of the fact that they have that damage type, right? The non-burst damage. That's why I was considering it.
Yeah.
So this is an awkward position right now, because you have these three mid, and you're stuck in the bot lane having to soak. Chen is up here having his one-on-one. So yeah, so Chen should be able to cap this one. It's going to probably be an even trade there, and then the question is, do you guys try and contest this? I'm guessing that you do. So the main thing that I would point out is that you do have long range damage between the Hanzo and the Li Ming, so poke damage is very good. I'd like to see you guys positioned very defensively if you're going to go for this. And you basically just want to keep only Johanna in range of the ETC while your damage just pokes. I think that given a long enough fight, I do think you guys win it out, because Tyranda's healing sustained is not as good, especially if she doesn't get to auto attack a lot. Yeah, I think it is winnable, because you guys can just keep poking. That's the real goal.
They end up executing that strategy better than us, though.
Yeah, okay, let's take a look. Oh, that is a fat orb. Okay. So the only thing I think that really loses this for you guys is if you hard commit, or if you step out too far. So right now Johanna is taking a lot of free damage that's not necessary. That's kind of unfortunate. So yeah, you have 3 heals rolling, but definitely got to get this one reapplied. There you go. Yeah, okay. So that's 100% because Johanna took a bunch of unnecessary damage before the objective even spawned. Because of that, he can't step up close enough, so your team can't get close enough to stall, which is really unfortunate, because you have Hanzo has his Sonic arrow, so he would be able to stall that if he just got a little bit closer, but he's too zoned out by the ETC. Doesn't feel like he can. All right. Once again, not the end of the world, because the early games, their team is stronger, I think. Okay. Yeah, you got all 3 heals rolling. Really good. As far as roots go, so one thing to keep in mind when you're playing Malfurion, mana-wise, your regrowth is extremely inexpensive, and you can keep it up pretty much full time and almost never go as long as you're not using Entangling Roots. Entangling Roots is super mana costly, and that's where all your mana ends up going. So in this composition, you don't really have a lot of crowd control to follow up on. Like a Condemn is not the easiest thing to follow up with a root. You can do it, but it's not super reliable until level 10 when he gets Blessed Shield. So most of the roots I'd like to see you doing this game are zoning roots, honestly. Things that prevent ETC from sliding aggressively, or if ETC is really deep, something like a root behind him so he can't retreat. Yeah, I think that using roots as a follow-up is going to be difficult.
All right.
But once again, I don't think you even need to use roots that often because of the mana aspect. I'd like to see you just really making sure you have perfect uptime when it comes to your healing.
I think I end up casting like 4 roots this game.
Yeah, so this is actually the perfect talent for what I was saying, this Deep Roots here, because having the larger radius, so it's going to be zoning out a larger area, and it stays for longer, so that's fantastic. I love that choice. So yeah, you guys definitely are trying to rotate together as 4, which on this map is just very challenging, honestly. I would highly recommend whenever you do this map, more than anything, I think you need to make sure you have a solo laner that can double lane soak. That's the first priority, I think, of this map. But after that, if you don't have a solo laner that can do that, or if they have one that's better, or if they have gankers, whatever, you need to have another hero that can solo lane mid. That is sort of like a pseudo solo laner, right? Having either like a Maiev, Zeratul, Thrall, something along those lines that can stay safe in the mid lane, catch the soak, come help take a camp or invade. Just as a general thing, I think that's pretty important, because that is one weakness of your composition, is that the 4-man really, like, nothing can really separate, because as soon as one member leaves, the whole thing kind of starts to fall apart.
Yeah.
Okay. I do feel like there has been some missed soak, but it looks like it's about equal on both sides because they have a kill as well, so I don't think it'll show me. Yeah, it doesn't show me in replays what the breakdowns are, unfortunately. Alright, so you guys are taking your camp again. That's really good. Chen is now soaking mid. That's great. Fantastic. I think, yeah, somebody has to be in this bush. I think it's great. Okay, perfect. There's still this wave down here to soak. I'll clear that. Chen's got the mid. There's only one spawn. Alright, Chen rotates in. And you guys want to fight sooner than later, I believe. So I think this would have been a fine opportunity to just go in, right? So you have most of the clear on their mercenaries and whatnot. They still have to finish clearing yours. So this is a perfect opportunity to push your advantage. I think your rel is going to be a little bit late, at least more late than Chen is. So yeah. Yeah, definitely want to be looking for this fight. I'm not sure why Chen went back up here. Alright, they do have all 5 down here as well. Johanna's getting destroyed. Did she not have, she already used? Let me take a look at that. Has trait. Johanna is taking a lot of poke damage, just kind of standing around. However,
yeah, that's how we lose the game.
In this situation, though, part of the problem is just that Chen is not there. If Chen's here as well, Johanna doesn't take nearly as much damage because it's going to be end up being more split. And if they do try and all in on the Johanna, Chen should be able to chunk somebody out really hard. But yeah, so the trade is just not available, I'm assuming. Oh, no, level 1. Yeah, so this is probably not the right choice, honestly, for the Johanna. I would have definitely gone for the hold your ground because of the composition type, where the only target that should be power slideable is the Johanna or maybe the Chen. You really want to make sure that when you press your trait, they don't burn through it, and that you have it up more frequently, because power slide's on a 12-second cooldown and shield is on a 20-second cooldown. So having the hold your ground brings that down to 15 seconds. So there's only a 3-second window during which he has power slide and you don't have your iron skin. And as far as like sustained healing, you have Malfurion. So I really don't think that it's necessary to have the Laws of Hope here. It's kind of redundant. A good execution on their end to get that CC chain. The root is well placed, but it looks like there's not enough focus to get a return kill. All the damage is very spread. Chen's kind of focusing over here. I think, yeah, you guys do have to focus a little bit on the closest target to you with your damage type. Yeah, Chen went for the back line there instead of trying to help kill the front line instead. Alright, so that's going to be a lost objective, I assume. Alright, so once again, level 10. After level 10, I think you guys get significantly stronger. Panda Pals, I'm assuming Chen goes for. Yes?
Yeah.
No?
Oh yeah, he goes the whatever it's called.
The
Stormwrath.
Okay, good. Yeah, that ult is super busted right now. It's really strong. Whoa, hold on. I gotta replay that. That was beautiful. That guy did not see that coming. Oh god, that's beautiful. Fantastic. All right. So what can you do with that? They still have the solo laners in top lane. These camps are not available. You're missing some soak in the bot lane. I think the best case scenario from having gotten that kill is you send one of your DPS top, try and maybe gank Uriel, but more importantly, grab this camp. And the rest of the other three, just make sure you catch all the soak. There's not much else to do. I don't think it's worth trying to push with a single kill, especially when there's minions pushed out and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like the rotations are just not great overall, as far as like missing minions and knowing exactly where to be, when to be. There's definitely going to be missed soak down here. See, if Johanna had stayed bottom in this particular situation, cleared this first, and then rotated up, intercepted their rotation, they could lose the entire wave of soak on your side. And that would equal out the XP, put you guys on the same level 10 path. Huh? They missed a little bit of soak here. It's not terrible. Alright. So far, I'm liking your regrowth usage. Looks really solid to me. This has got to be soaked. Okay. Chen goes to mid, gets that, and then you guys... I think that this is probably the easier one to contest from long range, just because you have towers right here. So like Hanzo, for example, can stall this one from like over here. Super safe. Chen can be up here. I do think in the Chen versus Uriel matchup, I think Chen should win it, especially after he has his ultimate, but Uriel can't. You have to not get interrupted by it, of course. So you have to try and bait out the interrupt with your drink, and then go for the Panda Pals after that. But that's a 1v1 that Chen is favored in, I believe. So, I think that you guys can try and split it sort of as a 4-1 split. Okay. So you have knowledge that Lunara and Uriel were on this side, so you guys can step up a little bit more here. I think you guys need to clear this wave faster. That is one thing that I'm noticing, is that their team is clearing the minions like right before objectives spawn. They're clearing faster, so you guys are just a little bit behind when it comes to the objective, and that's been sort of leading to losing those early objectives a lot. Okay, a little risky positioning. Okay, so Chen's got that. Hopefully you guys can interrupt this. Yeah. Alright, good dodge on the power slide here. So the power slide's down. So this would be, if it was me, I'd say we're going all in on ETC right here. We have the Blessed Shield. You're close enough to follow up with an Entangling Root. I think this is a good opportunity to go all in here. You don't take it. Okay. That's unfortunate. Yeah, power slide down for 7 seconds. I think this guy absolutely can die. I mean, he does have Elun's Chosen on him because he was in a risky position. He threw him up. But I probably would have gone for that. At the very least, you chunk him out really hard. And your team is not super melee, so you don't have to worry too much about just a standstill mosh pit since he didn't have Power Slide. Once again, the story is kind of the same. Johanna is just standing out a little bit too far and just eating free damage when you guys aren't really dealing any. So that's definitely a positioning issue. Meanwhile, so because of taking that free damage, Johanna has to back up to tap and whatnot. The rest of your team is very vulnerable without the Johanna present, so they get the first rotation up here. So they're likely to get this Chen kill, I'm assuming. Oh, wow. Okay, really good. Nobody's down here still, though. So this is either an all-out fight or they send somebody down here. If they send somebody down here, you guys have to win the fight very quickly, which is doable.
Yeah, here I call for the all-in because we blew our channel.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. 100% agree. So definitely go all in. You still have Blessed Shield. Yeah, they're all 5 here. You still have... Oh, you used your root. Okay. So they dropped the Rel ult already. Okay. This is still very awkward positioning-wise. Yeah, okay, so you dropped the Trank, but you really got to get it on Johanna. He's just, like, running right outside of it. Oh, no. Oh,
yeah,
no.
I'm trying.
Dragon Strike. What are we doing here? Okay, so I'm not a fan of the Dragon Strike. Pretty much ever. Yeah, it's just the worst ultimate. More importantly, your team doesn't have, as I said, that strong crowd control to lock something down in one place. So just raw damage as a zoning tool is not super useful. I think Arrow would have been much more beneficial. But as you said, Hanzo was the panic pick, so not a comfort. Okay, so they have Mosh Pit still available. Power Slide is in the back here. And they get the Johanna kill. So 100% they get the Johanna kill because Johanna runs upwards instead of staying inside of the Tranquility, kiting backwards into his team a little bit, allowing Chen to get value from his ultimate. So definitely an issue I'm seeing is the just understanding from Johanna of where to be during team fights and whatnot. Okay, so they're going to capture this mid one, and then likely they'll probably still get this as well, unless you guys can stall it until Johanna gets back. It's not going to happen. Okay. All right. Yeah, they invade. Not a whole lot you can do about that. Okay. All right. So one thing that I will mention is that so they went for a Leaping Strike instead of Thornwood Vines, which does indicate, so that was a good choice for them. They're trying to get more single target damage. And based on that last fight, their damage has been very focused. They started off with the Chen, and then as soon as his ult went off, they switched their focus to the Johanna. Nothing else on your team was really taking damage. So the Tranquility was pretty much 100% to save the Johanna, and then Johanna walked away from it. So obviously not ideal usage for Tranquility, but that's not really your fault. So
yeah, I think Leaping is also like standard pick for most Lunaras.
Yeah, I think that it just fills in a little bit more of the kit that Lunara wants to have. Gives you a bit of survivability, escape, single target burst, etc. So makes sense. Okay, this is fantastic for you guys. Single man mosh pit on a Johanna. You've got the pre-heal up. I would save using Entangling Roots until towards the end of the mosh, honestly. Just to keep him locked down there. You guys should blow him up, honestly. Let's see, do we have... Yeah, you have some... Okay, so you guys cancel it almost immediately with a Wave of Force. That's even better. Got the root down. All right, and then you go for the Trank. Okay, so the Tranquility, once again, is purely for the Johanna. She still has Iron Skin, and Laws of Hope is coming up. I think you guys gotta take this. Once again, Power Slide is down. I would be all-inning on this. He's still got his teleport, so... Like, if we get a Blessed Shield on this guy, and we commit with Calamity, I'm assuming we have Calamity. Yes, okay. And Hanzo should be hitting this guy. I'm not sure what's going on as far as targeting goes, but... Alright. So that's a full disengage. Yeah. I'm not a fan. So the problem being that you guys decide to commit to the resources of using the Tranquility. They've just whiffed their mosh pit completely, and you still have Blessed Shield, and Iron Skin was available for this situation. So between Iron Skin, Laws of Hope, and Tranquility, I think you guys could have taken this fight. So they do rotate in the Urel, so now they're 5. You definitely don't want to fight anymore. They're going to get this walked in. Okay. Shen is still up here. 25 seconds. He's got to rotate in. They're going to go in on this. Okay. So we use the Blessed Shield very defensively here. Which is, yeah, it's a kind of recurring theme. Okay, so the Zoning Ultimate puts him in a corner. Decent scatter, but can't get anything else. Fortunate. Okay. Your mana's pretty low, and you don't have Tranquility now. So let's see. Ultimate used... Okay. Yeah, so they used a few ultimates as well. They do have Ardent Defender and Leaping Strike, and you guys have Panda Palace. Yeah, this is still okay. Shen gets here, Johanna gets here. He's not fully topped. If I were you, as soon as Johanna's like here, I'd be running back to heal him immediately. You want to pre-heal that. And I want to see, once again, I want to see you guys positioned a little bit more defensively because of the long-range poke damage that you guys have. I don't think there's any need for you guys to be super up front because this allows them to come in from the side here. Yeah. Okay, Lunara uses her spell shield. Yeah, I still have Panda Pals. Okay. Alright, there's the ulti. Oh. Okay, team's getting pretty split. And there has to be... I feel like there's not a whole lot of target calling right now.
Yeah, that's something we are not very good at.
Right, yeah. Okay, so they commit to the Johanna, who once again falls. And guess what? 4-second cooldown on Iron Skin. You know what would have saved him?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but it makes a big difference. All right, Panda Pals goes off. I do want to like having Panda Pals go off after your first hero dies is really not ideal. As far as crowd control and lockdown goes up for your team, so you have the Blessed Shield, you have the Panda Pals with the root, and you have ideally you should have had Dragon Arrow. Between that combo, I think that you guys could have destroyed something. Like if you rip a Blessed Shield into an Entangling Roots, into a Storm Earth and Fire root, into a Dragon Arrow, Li Ming has all the time in the world to follow up on that, and any target that's caught in all of that crowd control dies, guaranteed. All right, so you guys do secure the follow-up kill on the ETC. That's really good. Oh, very low. You have the heal. Nice. Awesome. Really good. Solid. Okay. Good positioning. Good zoning. Once again, your regrowth usage is fantastic. I have not seen any issues with it so far. I have not been paying super attention to how frequently you use Innervate, but... Going for boss here, I'm not a huge fan of, and I don't like the positioning of definitely Hanzo. This camp is available. I would have preferred if you guys maybe took the wall, grabbed the camp, and maybe tried to secure bottom, pushed with that. But okay, so you guys go for boss. Let's see how it goes. They don't have Lunar for a little bit, but you just don't have any vision of this right now. They could be standing in that bush. Okay. Alright, it is secured. They have the owl, so they know you're not here. Did they go for an invade? You guys rush for it? They grab top camp. Okay, so you guys can grab this. This is risky. Li Ming can blink over the wall from go in here and then blink over here. Malfurion, you're kind of screwed. You have to go the long way. This is okay though. Damn. Okay. So your camp was available before theirs was. So ideally, what that means is that you can cap yours first and look for an invade. But okay, not quite fast enough. I think if you, yeah, because you guys went for boss first and then didn't all go through the same way. Some of you guys had to go this way. This was mostly done by 2 people. Decent chunk damage. Okay, single spawn. Okay, it's spawning here. Oh wait, why did I say that? It's not spawning there at all. I guess that was the tunnel spawning. Okay. So its positioning is really important. Like, I feel like you guys are giving up key positioning. They're going to get the free clear here on your mercenaries. You're going to get 0 damage on theirs. And they're going to just try and walk this in and try and finish the keep. Yikes. Okay. So that's, it's just a matter of posturing. Okay. Decent. All right. You stopped 2 of them. That's pretty good. Better than I expected. Same exact situation. Chen should be able, they had 5 people down here actually, so I'm not sure. 10 seconds. I think they have time to stall if you try and go for that one. Okay. So yeah, Chen grabs top right. You guys stay 4 bottom. Not sure what you guys are rotating here for.
I think we go for theirs.
Go for an invade. Okay. Oh yeah, because they're 16. I like this. I like this. Best case scenario though is Chen. If this is what your play is, Chen's got to be here as well. I think Malfurion, you're the one who goes over here to cap because you provide the least kill threat for this and securing this. And this is the least likely to be contested. So I'd like to see you be the one to cap this. Chen immediately goes over here with the Hanzo and the Johanna and eventually Li Ming. More importantly, they see vision of this, so they should be heading over right away. And Urel's in no immediate danger. You guys are going to get caught out here. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, definitely want to have Chen over here for this. This is not a fight that you really want to take since they have 16. Alright, so you get power slid, but their damage is too far away to follow up. They're focusing on the Johanna. Once again, defensive Blessed Shield is used. I think every single shield this game has been defensive, which is a real problem because that's your kill threat. That's your kill. That's the way that you get kills with this composition because you don't have much other crowd control, and you have 2 skill shot damage dealers, so they kind of need crowd control to guarantee damage. And this ult stalls. Cool. Good job. Great ult. That misses. Okay. Nonetheless, I mean, you guys don't really want to contest this. You want to grab your 16. I think 16 talents here is pretty decent for you guys. Yeah, it's really good for both of your damage dealers. I don't even remember what Chen's 16 talent here is now. He goes for combo strikes. Okay. Okay. Honestly, I still have to finish looking into Chen's new builds because I don't remember all the talents anymore. Okay, he's gonna go for a mosh here. Yeah.
This is the game-ending play, in my opinion.
It's because it's on the Li Ming. Li Ming can never get power slid because Wave of Force is the interruption for that, and you have no other interrupt because you don't have a Dragon Arrow, but you wouldn't have it anyway right now. Yeah, this is the level 16 fight. I wouldn't have even used it. There's no chance that this guy survives, even if you immediately Tranquility. He's not going to live.
Yeah. That was just a panic one, I think.
Yeah, so if you did have Twilight Dream, like, I see what you're saying as far as the way this game has gone. Tranquility just has not gotten the value that it should have or could have. So Twilight Dream could have been better. In this case, yeah, you could have interrupted the mosh pit and potentially tried to get a turn kill, or at the very least saved Li Ming's life because she could blink away. Is Johanna gonna die too? I feel like he's just stayed for so long for no reason there. Okay. Alright. Yeah, that is definitely game losing, primarily because of the fact that they're going to grab the bottom lane and they already have a large advantage when it comes to shots. And you're pretty screwed over here as well. Alright. How do you come back from this situation? Alright, so you are still in the same talent tier. Boss is not available. These two camps are, so this is potentially 6 shots that can go into here. You really need to take a fight that's on fair territory whenever possible, once you guys are up. But it's really going to be hard. You have to kind of defend this bottom lane. These two spawn. Okay. So your options are to give the shots that are coming into bottom lane and try and just get your 5v5 up here. It's really, you can't trade. It's too late for trading. You have to fight and you have to win, because otherwise you're just going to slowly lose. If you try and trade this, you're going to end up losing shots up here, and they're going to get more shots than you are. So, all right. Yeah. Okay. So you guys are heading up. Okay. So Lunara and ETC are showing down here. You need to be beelining to force a fight right now. Your whole team needs to be doing this. Johanna has Blessed Shield. The first thing that you see anywhere here, just rip it. Go. Go, 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 go. Oh, man. The pussyfooting around is no good. Okay. This is the target now. He doesn't have his ultimate. Okay. Oh, man. Don't even cap. Hanzo shouldn't be bottom. This is not ideal. All right, so once again, they did have 2 people down here. I'm assuming they're rotating right now. You guys are going to grab this cap for sure, but this is going to end up going not very well because it's a 3 versus 3 and they have 2 people on their way. Now it's a 4 versus 5. They have their ETC mostly towards your back line. You're getting very chunked. Tranquility is getting pretty good value, but you're just pretty screwed because of positioning. Yeah, so this is just a simple matter of you guys could not afford to have somebody bottom right here to defend against these shots. You just couldn't afford it. Had to have all 5 up top and get a 5v5 fight that's the worst case scenario, honestly. Them showing ETC and Lunara down here was a huge misplay on their end. You guys could have gotten a free kill on your Urel if you guys committed immediately with the Blessed Shield and everybody collapsed together. So I think that definitely shot calling is important. I think that the shot calling, the rotations, the target calling, all of those are the most salient things that I've noticed so far.
Yeah, I would have never thought to give up the shots bottom.
It's not something you want to do because it's 6. Well, did they cap both? Yeah, they did. So it is 6 shots, right? But you have no choice, because if you have anybody down, you don't have a global. If you have anybody down here, you risk not only losing this one, but they might even go for an invade. And they don't have to, because they can just easily trade and wait out, grab 20, and just have massive advantage because they still have bot control. They can cap these whenever they want. So yeah, I think there's when you're in this position on Towers of Doom where you've already lost the bot shrine, as long as you're on the same talent tier, there's a way to come back, and that way is to take a fight away from the bot side of the map, because it's really not ideal to fight on the bot side when they have control of both. You could fight over like a sapper camp, for example. You can, but there's these tight choke points can be quite challenging, especially against an ETC. So I think like this was the perfect way to come back in this game, is the fact that the top 2 altars respond, and the fact that they showed 2 people bottom that don't have globals. That was a gift to come back into the game. But you guys just you have to use the information that their team is giving you and make those decisions based on it. If you guys take this fight here, you grab the Yrel kill immediately. I think you guys send one person, ideally Malfurion, to grab this, and then the other 4 zone this, and then as soon as you've capped this, you join them, press in, secure this, rotate first to bottom, grab this back, and then the game is back in. You're 100% back in the game at that point. I think XP you might be like 1 level behind maybe in that situation, but even then, I think maybe even closer.
Yeah.
So they go up top. That's fine. You guys need to grab this back. Don't even try and defend. It's not worth it. Okay. What's Hanzo doing here? Oh, okay. They go for boss. That's game. All right. So yeah, I think that a couple things. First off, as I said, you guys were a little bit weaker composition-wise in the very early game before you had your ults. The problem is that after you got your ults, they were never used in synergy with one another. So I think that having Dragon Strike is obviously not the way to go here. You definitely needed more crowd control, and having Dragon Arrow would have helped a lot more than having Dragon Strike. Tranquility, I still think this ultimate could have worked. The only reason it really didn't was because of the playstyle and decision making. Like every time you use Tranquility, your team didn't commit. It was like use Tranquility and run away. It's like, wait a second, no, it's the other way around. Tranquility is offering armor and constant healing, so during the duration of Tranquility, your team shouldn't be getting out traded. That's the idea. So they should be trying to run away from you while Tranquility is currently active. And then Blessed Shield, it's the right ultimate, but it was never used when it needed to be. It needs to be used not as a defensive, because if you're using it defensively, you're never going to get a kill from it. And then if you have a composition that has skill shot damage, it's so unlike, like, number of kills this game, 3 kills, yeah. And that's purely just because you guys never were using Blessed Shield for securing the kills. Almost, I think every kill that you had this game was like towards the end of a fight, trickle damage or reset. There was a kill on Lunara over here, and then there were 2 kills down here after Johanna had died. So yeah, I think just understanding how the composition works as far as how are you planning on getting kills, what are you trying to kill, as far as is it going to be the front line or is it going to be a backliner? Like, you don't have much in the way of dive besides Chen, although Chen with Panda Pals is enough to dive backline on his own if you want to do that. He can like take out one person from the fight. He could like jump on Tyrande or Raynor and just beat them in the fight, and force the entire rest of their team to try and peel the Chen if they want to save that person. And that's fine to do that. But nothing else on your team can really help with that strategy. So as far as the rest of the team goes, yeah, I think that best case scenario in team fights is that you're killing ETC or Yrel. You're killing ETC most of the time after he's used his power slide. That's sort of how I see kill wise how this goes.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of it goes, honestly, your Malfurion play was pretty solid. Let me just take a look at the finished build. So Shando's Clarity we talked about. I like the Deep Roots choice. Wild Growth, if you're not going to go for Cleanse, which I do think you should have gone for the Cleanse, but I think that, would it have saved people here? Not real. Maybe if you had cleansed like the power slide on Li Ming down here, he could have blinked away before power slide went off. That's possible. But I understand why you went for Wild Growth. I mean, you do have Johanna with with an Unstoppable. So this is the wrong talent, which led to more problems on the cleanse front than anything else. Tranquility, I think, could have been used correctly here, and I don't think that you used it at the wrong times, except for the one down here that was not good. But Twilight Dream also could have worked. You're right. It's if I were playing Malfurion this game, I would have used Tranquility. Oh, that's the reality.
Yeah, I was excited for Trank against Raynor and Lenar.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But they focused their damage. They did it really well. Like, they did not spread it at all. They had a specific target. They went for it, and it died slowly, but it died. And a lot of that just has to do with positioning, and your team needs to peel for each other better. So, like, if one person is taking damage, they need to retreat into the rest of their team while the rest of the team moves forward and threatens the rest of their team, prevents them from chasing. Revitalize here, you basically go for self-sustaining mana, which is fine. I don't think you had too many mana problems this game. Maybe that's because you used Revitalize. And then you went for Nature's Balance. This is the general go-to talent. However, for this game, I think you also could have gone for the regrowth talent that gives increased healing from the heal over time effects from your regrowth. And the main reason I say that, it's only for when you're at high health personally. But the reason why I say that is because you have extraordinarily good uptime on your regrowths. And so having that, I think it's a 60% increase on the heal over time effect would have been very nice to keep your Johanna more topped, because he was taking a lot of the incremental damage from just being a little bit too far out. So that could have been a more useful thing. I don't think that you're going to get a lot of multi-target Moonfires this game, which is the real purpose behind Nature's Balance, is to have that increased area so you can land 2 or 3 or 4 people in a Moonfire. Their composition is just, it's too scary to be able to get a large Moonfire. Best case scenario, you get it on like 2 targets, ETC URL. So,
What about the burst heal one? Would that have helped maybe, since they were so well focused?
let me take a look at that. That's a good question.
Because I've never gone the Ysera's gift one, but maybe I should try it out.
Why is it not? Oh, because you're dead. Okay. So the Ysera's gift, yeah, no, Moonlight Harmony increases the Moonfire's heal. The same problem as this one is, this is a good heal if they have a heavy melee composition. So if they have like a clumpy team that's, like if they had a Chen, for example, and they're using Storm Earth and Fire, this talent is amazing. You know why? Because like you're going to hit 3 or 4 bodies every time you Moonfire because of the Panda Pals. And it's going to be at priority times when they're going in hard on a single target, and then you're going to get a massive heal from that. But as for against this team, I don't think this would have been I don't think this would have helped that much, because you're going to be able to Moonfire maybe 1 person, maybe 2. Yeah. Yeah.
So you think, in general, like, because yeah, I don't really understand Mouse talents too well.
Sure.
So like,
yeah, I mean, I do think Malfurion's talents are pretty, you can, like, there's no single talent build that you have to go. Like, he's got definitely viable options. We talked already about level 1. Level 4 definitely can change it around. I like the deep roots this game because you didn't have the other CC to follow up specifically off of. So like if your team had the ETC, I would say don't go deep roots. I would say probably either strangling or vengeful. But yeah, what else? 7. I think the wild growth is a solid talent if you're not going for a cleanse, just to keep more targets active regrowth. And I liked the idea behind that this game, so I think that's fine. And yeah, we already talked about the ultimates. Level 13, I do think that I would have personally preferred one of these 2 talents. for your team's sake, hindering Moonfire would have been really nice. I think that your team was low on just crowd control, so having a slow for their ETC, for example, would have been super nice. If he power slides aggressively and you get a Moonfire on him, suddenly he's kind of stuck in a place where he doesn't want to be, and it's a lot easier for your team to land skill shots on a slowed target. So I do think that could have been better than having the Revitalize here. And Nature's Swiftness would have been purely self-defensive if you're, because it helps you to get away if they try and get on you if you're out of position. But yeah, that's the main talent that could have made a difference as far as the team fighting goes. And then yeah, having your Sarah's Gift here, because you spent 99% of this game above 75% health, and 60% increase on healing over time is really pretty solid, especially when you're keeping it up on 2 or 3 targets full time. And your uptime was, once again, fantastic. So
Yeah, okay. That's right. Yeah.
I don't think that I don't feel like Malfurion specifically got a ton of value this game, but I don't think that that's your fault. Like, I really feel like the biggest problems with the way this game went had to do with target calling, shot calling, rotations, and knowing when to take the fight, where to take it, when to go for the pick. So I don't think that's an issue with Malfurion specifically. Could you have used a different healer this game for more effective? I don't know. Was Lucio available for this game?
We banned it out because
Okay.
they have a good Lucio player. But
Gotcha.
I was thinking maybe we should have just taken it. I don't know.
It could. I would have said that Lucio would have been a solid choice as well here. You still have the strong AoE heals, which is nice against their composition. You can boop against the ETC, which is pretty solid. Yeah, I probably would have liked Lucio a little bit better overall. It would have given you guys a way to disengage as well as chase, which is really important against this composition because, chasing a Lunara can be a pain in the ass otherwise. Yeah, that's probably the only other healer that I would have rather you guys had. But anyway, that's about it for me. Do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I got 3 more.
Yeah, go for it.
When do you... So, like, we talked about Trank being theoretically good here. When do you want to go for Twilight?
Twilight Dream is the general talent you want to go for against dive type heroes. So especially ones that get mostly destroyed by silences. So any hero that has to dive to do damage. Their team, Yrel's kind of a diver, but a 3 second, I think it's 3 seconds, right? Yes, a 3 second silence is very powerful, but I don't know that it's enough to kill Yrel outright unless you're combining it with a Blessed Shield and whatnot. There's a good chance that Yrel lives the silence and then is able to get off her ultimate. That's the main reason that's I wouldn't have taken it necessarily this game. You're very unlikely to hit Lunara. You're very unlikely to hit Raynor. You're very somewhat unlikely to hit Tyrande. Most likely targets for Twilight Dream this game are the ETC. It would be to secure the kill on ETC. Silence is very powerful against ETC because ETC's health bar is not that tanky. His tankiness, a lot of it comes from his ability usage because it grants him armor and healing, and space creation and power slide, movement. So Twilight Dream would have been super powerful against specifically the ETC. I would take it when not only they have dive, but also you have heroes that you don't want to be dived. That's another thing. Okay. Tranquility is the go-to when their damage type is such that it allows you to sort of run into their team and just win off of trading. That's sort of the idea. So I do think you guys could have capitalized on having the Tranquility better, but yeah, I do think I don't think it was the wrong choice for this match.
Yeah, sometimes I like in Storm League, I take Twilight just as insurance against Mosh. But
Yeah,
I don't
absolutely,
know.
certainly. I mean, Twilight Dream, as I mentioned, would have been really nice against Stage Dive as well. But yeah, it's also an interrupt for Mosh Pit. There was definitely one opportunity at least where it could have been a nice way to save the game potentially in that bottom lane fight.
Um, what about level 20s? I just I don't know about level 20s from
Yeah,
nothing.
absolutely. So very variable once again. If you're going for the nature's balance, and if you feel like you're getting Moonfires off well, then Lunar Shower can be pretty powerful. Because you're, it's also nice if you have the Moonfire slow. It's basically allowing you to use more Moonfires, and they do more damage. Um, and it hits harder as well. The biggest impact is the fact that it's a lower cooldown though. Lower cooldown means more healing, so that's really solid. If you don't feel like you're able to get a lot of Moonfires off, um, Life Bloom can be really good, specifically with heroes that have armor. Like for example, Garrosh. This talent is phenomenal with Garrosh, right? Because Garrosh's percentage base healing, when he's low health, it's more impactful. So if you throw up a life bloom on Garrosh when he's very low, it's a tremendous value of healing. It's like you're healing him for 20% of his health bar. Um, and that applies to other heroes that have armor as well. But uh, as far as empowering Tranquility, I probably wouldn't most games. I think I would generally go for either of these two before I went for Serenity. Astral Communication or Communion is definitely worth taking. I would have, if you go for Tranquility, or if you go in for Twilight Dream this game, I would have also gone for Astral Communion here, because then it would be something you could land on their backline. You could land it on their whole team with this now. You just have to look for the right moment to use it, to turn the game, to turn the fight.
Right.
Yeah, I would take Astral Communion 75% of the time if I'm taking Twilight Dream. Because that's, I mean, if you're taking Twilight Dream, it means that you're trying to use Twilight Dream to win fights. And these two talents are much more defensive, heal based, and this is much more aggressive.
Okay, that makes sense.
Any other questions?
Yeah, the last one is kind of like a nitpicky micro one.
Yeah.
Like in fights sometimes, I I don't get like full. I don't spam my W on cooldown.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I'll wait for Q to come back up so I can have it,
Yeah.
so I can cast it just before W. Like, is that? Should I focus more on like just getting out as many Ws as I can,
No,
or
I don't think so.
no?
I think that
Okay.
I think it's important for a couple of reasons. One, the most important thing is Q uptime, right? That's what's going to guarantee that you're actually putting out decent heal output. Um, Also, if you're just focusing on moonfiring on cooldown, you're gonna end up out of position a lot. So it's really important that you not be out of position as Malfurion. That's the number one most important thing. And if you're not close enough to get a moonfire, then your team shouldn't be close enough to take that much damage. And if your team's not close enough to take that much damage, then just the regrowth effect should be enough. So I don't think that you need to be using Moonfire on cooldown. In the middle of a team fight, yeah, it would be good if you can. But it's much more important that you're landing in the team fight, for example. It's more important that you're landing Moonfire on multiple targets than it is that you're using it on a single target on cooldown, if that makes sense. So try and look for those opportunities to get more than one target when possible. Having the level 16 talent definitely helps with that. And then if you're using hindering Moonfire, then definitely use your Moonfire more aggressively on like a frontliner, just to zone them out or to force them to back up, or punish them for overextending.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like I was feeling doubts because I play Ana a lot and I
Mm-hmm.
just spam on her, so it's a bit different.
What spam heals or?
Yeah, spamming heals.
Yeah, I mean, but that's her only source of healing. And
Yep.
Malfurion has two sources, not including his ultimate. So the majority of your healing should be coming from the regrowth healing over time, assuming that you picked Malfurion as a counter to that damage type, right? In this particular game, they had very strong focus target damage, which is not your job to counteract, really. Your job is to counteract the spread damage, and having Johanna is the reason why you want to have Johanna is to have the single target shield and unstoppable. That's the real benefit to having that hero in this draft. So yeah. I do. One thing that I haven't mentioned is just that these two damage dealers, Tranquility, oftentimes is not going to be enough to save them. So Tranquility in this case, as it was throughout the match, was purely used to save a frontliner most of the time, or attempt to save a frontliner. So just because of that one reason, like after you see that they take Leaping Strike, for example, that's when you could have switched for a Twilight Dream instead. That's yeah. This is a really tough call, honestly, because I feel torn. As I said, I probably would have gone with Tranquility this game, but you know what really hurts is not having Dragon Arrow. Like because you don't have Dragon Arrow, Twilight Dream becomes a lot better almost because you just needed that additional crowd control kill potential. Dragon Strike just doesn't do anything. It's really, really, really bad. It might be the worst ultimate in the game. It does decent damage, but it's very predictable, very hard to. It has a long delay, and it's very easy to get out of unless you have something to lock them in. So if you're using a specific combo, like if you're using Leoric and Tomb into Dragon Strike, maybe that could work, but 99% of the time, Dragon Arrow is going to be just better at doing the exact same thing. It does a lot of damage if you're using it from range, and more importantly, it has a very long stun attached to it, which is very solid when you're playing skill shot damage dealers. So, anyway,
Yeah.
I think that about covers it. Thanks for sending in the replay.
Thanks for the analysis. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Spread the word to your team.
I will.
Alrighty. Till next time.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Adios.